Ba-dum bum. Ba-dum ba-dum bum ba-dum. Intro music. Ba-dum ba-dum bum ba-ba. Here's a cat. Ba-dum ba-dum ba-bum ba. Another one's right there. Ba-da ba-da ba-ba-da ba-da ba. Okay, enough of that. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Office Hours. This is my cat, Tinchy. He really wanted to get started early, so thought we'd get started early. Hope y'all are having a wonderful Saturday. I know that I'm having a great one here. It's a little chilly. It's one of the reasons why I have gloves on. Another we'll get to here in just a second. But yeah, hope you're all doing well. Glad y'all can join us. What's up, Bobby? Good to see you. Yeah, cat cam. As Bobby says, yo, the cat cam. Yes, indeed. Tinchy, I think, is going to be a centerpiece of this video here today. Hey, what's up, Layla? Good to see you. Glad you could join us. Wonderful to have you both here. It's great. Okay, so like I said, what we're going to be doing here today in the title of the video is talking about bass maintenance, changing the strings, because I have not done that in, I guess not way too long. Okay, bye, Tinchy. I guess he might be about done with us now. Maybe not. Maybe just switching positions. Nope, he's done. All right. So what we're doing today is we're looking at the bass and talking about it from a maintenance point of view. Things that you should keep in mind when you're wanting to change strings, things, just keeping it clean, talking about different pieces of it, and different variations that you might encounter from instrument to instrument. You can tell this is like the first time I've had to do any real talking today. I've been spending most of it by myself. Getting warmed up. Okay, but to talk about just these opening things, what we want to talk about first are the items that you need. So what I have here, on top of having my bass, you want to have a towel roll, or something to support your neck. We'll talk about that, why that's important. You're going to need, of course, your strings. I've got myself some Ernie Ball extra slinky, regular slinky. Sorry, not extra slinky. Still don't really understand the difference in the slinkiness. I know it has to do with the width of the strings, like they're different. But if you look at the back for the tone output profile, this profile is exactly the same for every pack. It just says the output is boosted. Treble, mid, bass, good. I don't know. But I like these. I like the 130, a little bit thicker B string, because I like my B string. So you need your packs of strings. You're going to need some kind of wire cutters. That's what I have here. And then you will need a cleaning cloth of some kind. Now, things that you don't necessarily have to have, but are nice and are something that I'm going to do today, a ruler to measure exactly how far you should cut your strings, because some people don't feel comfortable eyeballing it. And I remember when I was first learning all string music stuff, I wanted very clear-cut directions, like do exactly this to get this. And this is one of the rare occasions where you can do that. You can measure it and be like, all right, we'll cut exactly this, and we're going to figure that out together. The other thing that's optional is a pick. And not just to play the bass, but to help clean the fingerboard, because a plastic pick is a softer material, generally speaking, than the harder wood that makes up your fretboard. So I don't want to speak in absolutes here, because there may be some necks that are really, really soft wood where this would not be a good idea, and you just want to use a cloth, a cleaning cloth with like a washing material. But I don't like to, for two reasons, I don't like to use oil on my instrument. One of them is that I have tattooed this bad boy to oblivion with stickers. And if I applied any kind of cleaning agent, I think that would just be a dunzo for all these stickers. So that leaves me with having to manually clean it, and I try to do my best to wipe things off. But this pick, as you'll see, I can get in here and scratch the gunk off of my neck. And another thing you can do is you can use the pick to go underneath your strings, sorry for the sound, and scrape like that, and it will get gunk off of your strings, because even if you wipe the top off, gunk gets underneath. So you can clean that up right there. Oh my goodness, Bobby, it's minus 30 where you are? Put a coat on. Oh, I'm sorry, homie. I'm so sorry, man. I feel bad about wearing these gloves. It's nowhere near that cold where I Okay. Cool. So, getting started here, I want to talk about the different parts of the or actually, first thing I want to do is start recording, because I'm going to make a little video later of how this all works, cutting out my head, and well, you'll see what I end up doing. But also, make sure if you can hear me okay, because I've got this kind of crazy mic set up, and I think it works, but if I'm too quiet, let me know. I can turn myself on. Alright, so I'm just going to go through this little intro thing one more time since I forgot to hit record on my local. So we have the bass. This is what it is. It's beautiful. Mine's covered in stickers. Oh, yes. And what I have for my materials, I've got a roll of towels for the neck. I've got my bass strings right here, wonderful bass strings. I've got my wire cutters, there we go, and a cleaning cloth. All the things you need. And then, like I said, optional, we've got our ruler over here to do some measuring, and a pick, if I can get it off the table, to do a little bit of scraping and cleaning. Okay, now we're all caught up. So, going into it, first thing I'm going to do here is take my fret wrap off the top. For those of you who are unfamiliar with these, what these do is they help dampen sympathetic vibrations. That is a fancy word of saying it makes sure your strings don't rattle. So when you play the bass, if I were to play an open E string, it would want to vibrate sympathetically some other strings, that the fourth, you know, because the instrument's all tuned in fourths, it wants to go through and start other strings ringing. And if your finger's not covering it, it's going to make a lot of extra sound. This really helps, especially with popping and slapping. And all it is just a little cloth that you tie around. It's got a little bit of Velcro over here. That's it. I think it's like maybe $10 on Amazon, but for a long time, I just wrapped a cloth around the top myself. It's a very easy solution there. Okay, so as far as the headstock goes, what I have is an inserted string headstock. That means I have to cut and clip my strings before I put them in here, because otherwise I will be twisting and turning and twisting and turning and twisting and turning forever. And with bass strings, especially with a B string, the wrapping up here would just get massive. So let me just show you real quick a close-up of what I'm talking about with the headstock. So this guy right here, it's a little hard to see, but you put the string into the hole and then you start twisting it around. Now, what is much, much, much more common? I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the old Fender Stratocaster here with the single line array of tuners. What's way more common is you've got the tuner coming out and it has a hole going in it sideways. Let me see if I can get that shot for you. So you can see how these little tips are sticking out. Little pieces of the string are sticking out here from where they were clipped. Try to get my head out of the way there. Impossible to do. Such a big head. So this is another way where what you can do is put the string in and clip it and then twist it, or much more commonly, put the string in, tune it up, and then clip it at the end. And you can see here on this instrument, there's a lot of winding. So especially this E string and the A string have a lot of winding up around there. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. Some people swear by it being the way to go because it keeps the string in tune longer. It holds its tuning much better. I've also heard, though, that clipping the strings and making it just a single turn, that is going to give you superior tone because you're not cutting your strings vibrational array, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, man. People, you can argue all day, different ways, but I think any setup, if you have a rationale of why you do it, that's good enough for me. So for my EVH, what I do is that latter thing where I clip my strings before I put them in there to get them shorter, and then I twist them around, and you can see I have very, very little string wrapping in general, but that's also because I have a dual lock system. So there you go, little rundown on all the different types that you have. Okay, now, why this little roll right here? This little roll is designed to support the neck, to make sure that there's no undue stress being put on the instrument while it's resting or while you're working on it. So with this instrument, if I were to not have this here and have it resting on top of the headstock, it would be pushing this forward, especially if I'm trying to push down and clean. And when you clean, you always want to support from underneath while you're cleaning something. You never just want to go, push down. Always support underneath what you're doing. So right here is the strongest point of the neck. So they make devices that you can, not devices, it's like a little tripod, a little stand that will go right there. They're like $20. Or you can just use a towel. I think a towel is nicer because it's soft and it's not going to scratch anything. So we put that right there. Now we have ourselves already set up to go. You'll also notice that I'm plugged in over here. I'm just doing that for easiness later so that you can hear me tuning, but it doesn't matter if you're plugged in or not. When you're changing strings, just maybe don't have your amp on and have the volume down so you don't hear all the horrible jingle jangles of this. But okay, I think we're ready to go now. So, next thing, do you change your strings one at a time or do you change them all at once? Answer is, it depends. If you were doing a super deep clean of your instrument, taking all the strings off is totally fine. It's not going to hurt the instrument. What happens when you take all the strings off an instrument? What it's going to do is there's tension on the neck that's being held by all these strings pulling it forward. What will happen is that neck will start to bend back because that tension is no longer there pulling it forward. And that's a natural thing, but the wood will start to adjust to that shape. So as you put your strings back on, it is going to take longer for the instrument to settle. Settle is what we say for it to hold consistent tuning. So with that in mind, if you are just changing strings, doing a light cleaning, and then wanting to get back into playing, one at a time is the way to go, simply for the fact it will maintain the tension of your instrument. But again, will it hurt your instrument if you do them all at once? No. What can you not do that with? Acoustic instruments. If you have a double bass, an upright bass, if you have a cello, if you have a violin, if you have a viola, an acoustic stringed instrument, you cannot take all the strings off at once. Why? The bridge will fall. The bridge will just go, just fall straight over. But for electric, we're all good to go. Hey, what's up, Pavillas? All right, so he's got a good question here. How often do you change your strings on the bass? Excellent question, another highly debated one. I'll give you 3 answers. Forgot the guy's name, but one really big bass player from the 60s, who's an upright bass player, said, you never change your strings. And he had one pair of strings his whole career. It's hard to believe, but he claimed he had one pair of strings his whole career. And he said, the funk lives in the funk, which is an awesome sentence. But, what happens if your strings start to get old? They become warmer, and sometimes they become muffled. And if you're somebody like me who plays popping and slapping and plays really bright bass music, you need to change your strings fairly often. And when I'm doing a lot of recording, like I do online, and I want to have a really good sound when I'm making a video that's going to hopefully last forever, I like to change my strings about every 2 to 3 months. 2 months if I'm really, playing a lot. That would be the shortest period of time. But probably three months would be average. Right now, it's been about 4. I think something like that. So it's long overdue in my book. In this last video that I did, I was feeling it because I had to work so much harder to get that bright sound that I wanted. But I got it. So you can get it. It just makes it harder. But that makes you better. But I like the shine. I like the shine of new strings. So what is my answer for the average person? It depends on how much you play. But I would say if you're regularly playing, changing your strings at least once every 6 months is going to be good. And if you haven't changed them in a year, even if you got new strings and they've just been sitting there for a year, it's still a good idea because they can get gunky and they can get gross. At least clean them. Something to think about. All right, let's see. Whoa, that's often. I'm still riding my stock Fender strings from almost about a year ago when I bought my first Squier 40th Jazz bass. Ooh, nice. Should change them for the bright slap tone. Again, it is a total personal preference thing. So when, I would suggest before you change your strings, have a good play session. Play for like 30 minutes or something, or 20, I don't know, maybe that's too long. Maybe play like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and record yourself if you can. And then change your strings, do all the setup. then play again for another 15-20 minutes and record yourself, and do the same music, do the same run through, and then you'll notice the feel, you'll notice the sound, and it can help you in the future determine, was this really necessary? Did I need to change them? What have I gained in my tone? What have I lost in my tone? Because right now, these bad boys, for doing like doom metal and for doing jazz, which is a weird combination of things to say, but that's what I've been doing lately. It sounds great, but I want to do a lot of popping and slapping, and I love the shine that comes from the first 2 weeks of a new set of strings, which means I got 2 weeks to really do a lot of recording here. All right, back to changing the strings. So first thing I'm going to do is rip this up, and man, ASMR. It's so loud. Oh yeah, the crinkles. Like Christmas Day. Okay, so we got our strings. I don't know why I looked at the microphone instead of looking at y'all. We got our pack of strings. For me, it's a 5-pack. And the numbers refer to the diameter of the string. So the bigger the number, the lower the string. So 130 is going to be my B string, and then all the way going up to my, what would that be, a G string? Yeah, 45. So, starting off. Yeah, so Pavilis is talking about having filthy strings. That's another thing, man. For me, the gunk drives me crazy when things get too gunky. I can't handle it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and twist this bad boy down, and you can hear that's a jangler. And with this one, this particular string, I want to measure this before I do this. I'm gonna actually retune that. Okay, because I want to measure exactly how far this is. So that is right at 3/4 of an inch, and that goes to, and that's when it's in tune, and it goes right to the center of my hole. That's a sentence right there that I loved that I said. Somebody clip that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is take the whole length here and see if I can figure out how far to clip it. I'm trying to stretch it and straighten it out. I'll do this in front of the camera here. Alrighty. Got a nice composer's ruler here. Alright, so it is right at 2 inches and 3/4. So 2 3/4 inches. Or for everybody else in the world who doesn't use our ridiculous system of inches, that is 7 centimeters. It's exactly 7 centimeters. Why do we use inches? I do not know. But you know what I do know? That Frederick Chopin was born in Poland in 1810 and died in 1849. Sorry, all my music teachers throughout my college career. If you ever wondered why I had a ruler on my desk in my music history tests, it's just a ruler, man. I want to make sure that my music... No, I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat. Cheating's not okay. I'm teasing. I'm making a tease. This was a gift. I'm trying to remember who gifted this to me, but I love it. Okay. So now I got my wibbly wobbly string. If you're one of these people that wants to repurpose your string, you absolutely can. You can just wrap them up and save them and be like, these are my warm patch of strings, and put them right back on. Some people I've heard boil their strings, and why do they boil them? 2 reasons. 1, it makes it easier to clean, gets all the gunk off. Number 2, it warms up the core and it expands the strings more and does something to the synthetic core. I don't know exactly, but it's supposed to give it some more life. So if you're really, really dead broke, you can boil your strings. And if you do, let me know how that turns out for you. Okay. So now I've got the string off. I can come over here, and just to show you now what that hole looks like, right there. So there's that whole empty peg that I'm going to be shooting to put my string into. Almost had another terrible sentence there. So to give you an idea of how much we're clipping, and what I'm measuring from here on the string is where it changes from the super heavy winding to the thinner winding, as you can see right there. So I start measuring from right here. So we have, let me get on the right side, 27 centimeters. 27 centimeters going down here of string. That's a lot. To wrap that all the way around would be ridiculous. And if we use our math from earlier, where we think about the length of the string, and since that was a single coil, if I take out that original 3/4 of an inch, which is okay, 5 centimeters. Sorry for going crazy there for a second. I just did some math. Every turn, at least on my base, for this sized of a tuner, every time I loop the string around one full rotation, that's 5 centimeters. So this is 27 centimeters. So how many would that be? That would be 5 turns, 5 coilings of this around there. Is it possible? Absolutely is it possible. But it's not what we're gonna do today, because I like having a single coil wrap. I like having something a little smaller. Now I wanna give myself a little bit more room for error, so instead of going for 7, I'm gonna go for 8. So I'm gonna go for right there. Come over here with my wire cutters, put my ruler down, clip that bad boy, and we're ready to go. Okay, but before I put the string on, I want to start doing some cleaning. So I'm going to go ahead and start down here on the pickups. Wipe that down. Be very careful over here on the base. Be very careful here on the bridge, where if you have a floating bridge, something like this, which is just a little piece, like that, yeah, and that you can move left and right. You want to make sure that that stays in the position that it was in. So if you don't want that to fall out, I can't tell you how many times I've done that, and it really messes up your action, so you have to be careful about that. And then what you want to do is take your pick and look for any sections where you can scrape up some gunk or scrape off some gunk from your instrument. So I can, oh yeah, there's a lot of gunk there because I'm gross. But as I mentioned earlier, what you want to do is you want to use a pick when you do this, because if you use a penny, if you use even your fingernail can be too sharp, too powerful, and it can scratch the wood. So we are not wanting to do anything that's going to scratch the wood, that's going to take off the polish, anything like that. We are just simply trying to help get gunk off the instrument. You can also push your strings forward at this point to try to get the in-between gunk, but that is what we're going for here. And since I have stickers on here, oh yeah, it is not the easiest of jobs. Oh, actually, wow, that came off really easy on that sticker. Maybe I need more stickers on here. My bass is like, please no more stickers. I'm sure you can hear that wonderful sound again. I'm just changing platforms to ASMR. All right, so this is another reason why I'm wearing these gloves, is so I can polish off and just kind of rub with my finger some of these spots. And as I drop my cloth, and get that out too. Come through here, clean that off, clean off the nut, this top piece here, make sure that's looking good. Okay, now I'm gonna take this off so I have a little more dexterity. We're gonna put our string in. So this end ball loop coming down here at the bottom, I'm gonna lay that in right there. Then I'm gonna come over here and twist until I can get it put in. So I'll just show you what this looks like here. So I've just got that just stuck in there right now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna push down to crimp it, and I'm gonna hold my finger right here, holding this down. And I'm gonna start twisting to the left. You wanna make sure you always, if the knobs are on the left side, twist to the left. We'll talk about what happens over here first, but you want your strings to be on the inside of the tuners, not on the outside of the tuners. Okay, so now I'm twisting. This is starting to coil. And all right, good. So my back string has popped out now. This can happen. If this happens, don't let go of this. If you let go of this and this unwraps, it can be a huge pain to redo. So what you want to do is switch hands. So now I'm going to put my thumb here to hold that down, come back over here, and see if I can't, there we go, lay that bad boy back in. So now what I'm going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again is I'm going to add some tension here in the middle and pull up until it's pulling up both here and over here. And yeah, now I got that tension and it's like really heavy on my finger. So I'm twisting to the left and it's pulling my finger down. And I pull my finger out of there. Alrighty, I'm gonna move my bridge piece back, slide back up my towel. All right, you can already hear there's an old string, here's a new string. Hear all that rattle? I think that's it. Listen to that. Now we're talking, baby. Now we're talking. That's not even with my bass plugged in. That's just the vibrations on the table. Yeah, I love it. Okay. Jumping back into the comments here. Thank you. I love that ruler too. It's a fun ruler. Caution, this is not family-friendly content today. The pick is like the ultimate tool for some reason. It has so many utilities besides the thing it was made for as Pavillas. Yeah, dude, picks are great. You know, even though I predominantly play fingerstyle, there are times you gotta use a pick just to get a sound or to do a technique or anything like that. It's just the way to go. Okay, so I'm moving on to my second string now here. So this is the E string. This will be the first string that most of y'all would be changing, since most people have a 4-string bass and not a 5-string bass like crazy old Alex 6501. All right, so come at it with the pick again. Get some of this gunk out of here. Oh yeah, nasty, nasty finger gunk. Another way to prevent having to do this is just not being a disgusting animal like me and wash your hands before you play your instrument. Because it's funny, because I know how to do it. I'm a professional violinist. My violin I keep very clean, you know. Not so much my bass, and I don't know why. I really should. Oh yeah, is everybody still here even though all I'm doing is making scratching sounds? Yeah, didn't think about that when I was making this video. Just how gross those scratching sounds would be. Okay, so we got our next one in here. Excuse me. All right, so now I've got my 100. So our measurements change now. Why? Because our string, our tuner, is further away from the headstock. So now I'm gonna show you a different way other than just measuring it. We figured out that 5 centimeter rule. We're gonna use that now. We're gonna put our bass string down here. We're gonna get this set up. So I've got it on my bridge, I'm pulling it forward, I'm pretending like a tight string is on here, and I'm holding it up and I'm aiming for that center of the hole. I'm gonna put my finger right there. So this, and to show you the distance from where it gets thicker, this is gonna be a little bit more than before. Because before I believe it was something like, it was 4.5, almost 5. Now it's 6.5 centimeters. So it's a further distance to get to that center of the hole. So now from here, I want to add 1 turn. What did we figure that was earlier? 5 centimeters. So I go from here, I add 5 centimeters. That takes me right here, boom. And then because I don't trust this pinching method, I'm gonna add another couple centimeters just to be safe and get myself stuck in there. But again, you can see how much of this string I'm cutting off, and I still know that I'm well within my range of being safe to not cut my string too short, which sucks, because then you've ruined an expensive string. But also, I've measured, okay, it will have my desired amount of turns, which is a little over 1. And why do I like to do that for my lower strings? all because I really like with these thicker strings that single turn action. I buy into the whole the tone is fatter when you do it that way. So what I'm doing right now is trying to make sure that this string goes underneath. See how it's going above? Get under there, you little goober. There you go. Get it underneath my A string. Because again, I want it to wrap towards the headstock. Wrap in. I don't want it to wrap up. Okay, so oh, no, it's still there. I was like, I think it fell out again in the back. So I just hit one turn. So now I'm wrapping back around. I'm still tightening. Still tightening. Okay, let's pull this back up here to give a little more support. Okay, cool. So, 2 down, 3 to go. Timothy's sitting down there going, I like all this paper trash you're throwing on the ground. I'm into that. Can you throw more of it? Timothy, you want to hop up on the table? You want to be on the TV? On the television? On the YouTubes? On the YouTubes? You can't see him right now, but I'm going to pick him up. I'm going to see. Hey, buddy, come here. Have a little cat entertainment here for a second. Yeah, it's a good boy, Tim Tam. We're cleaning our strings and our instrument. Changing our strings, cleaning our instrument. Yeah. Yeah, that's called viewership right there. Not pandering to the audience. It's giving them what they need, what they crave. People don't come to the bass channel to learn about bass. They come here for that rare opportunity to hang out with a couple of cats. Where else on the internet? And name one place on the internet where you can find videos of cats. You can't do it. There's nowhere else on the internet other than right here. So, if you want to look at cats, gotta come here. It's the only options. See, right now, oh, see? Timmy was like, oh, you're only getting my back? Let me give you a better angle. Let me give you my side shot. Look at that. It's a side shot cat. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. He's made for this. Okay, got the second one down. So now we're at 80. Timmy, what do you think? You think the single coil wrap is better? Or do you think wrapping the entire thing is better? No opinions? No opinions whatsoever? So there's the center of my string. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be a little extra. Go to like 6.5. So this one, I'm barely cutting anything off at the tip here. Ooh, yeah. The cats also love when I'm changing strings because they always want to eat them, even though I politely ask them not to. Okay, so come over here, bend that in, and again I'm holding with my finger down to keep this sideways. Why do I keep that sideways? It's so it wraps in towards the instrument and doesn't go up and over the top of the tuning peg. We want it to go down, just like it is. And I have pulled my string out. So again, even though my string came out over here, holding with my hand over here, yeah, Timmy knew because Timmy was like, this thing's popped out and I want to play with it. Okay, so now I'm pulling from this end. Timmy, you're just a wonderful blocker right now, my man. So to show you, Timmy, if I can show. So I'm holding this string up, so it's holding at the bridge underneath my armpit here. It's also holding up at the very top of the headstock. I'm gonna lay this back down on the neck. And I'm going to start twisting. I'm also holding the neck from underneath here because I just want to support my instrument. I don't want to put extra stress on the headstock, on the instrument itself. Now we're tightened up. Here we go. Timmy, you going to roll out? Thank you for the cameo. That was Timothy, everybody. And now let's get that tuned up here. All right. Dull. New. Love it. Okay, getting closer and closer here. I would let Timothy change the strings. I really would, but again, he would just eat them. He's a good boy, but he's a hungry boy. Always wants them snacks. Okay, let's see what else we got here on the old chat. Yeah. Bobby, learned everything I know from Timothy and Tinchi. Yes. Genius statement. Couldn't agree more. Okay. And another dead string. So this is our D string now. Boop, boop, doop. And for those of you just joining us here, if you've got your old bass strings and you don't think they're that dead, coil them up like this, hold on to them, and you can boil them, believe it or not, in a pot of water. And it will both clean them and give them a new, short-lived bit of life. It expands the synthetic core, or whatever nonsense is inside of these strings, and it helps brighten them up for a short period of time. It's not going to revitalize them forever, but if you're poor or if you're strapped for cash at the moment, it's a good way to do it. Let's see here. You guys talking about a 6-string bass? I wanted, starting out, before I bought this Warwick, my plan was to buy a 6-string. That was the plan. Because I saw Thundercat and I said, I'm stopping everything I'm doing in my life and I am just going to commit myself to learning everything that this man has done, because secretly that was what I had always wanted. I was like, man, I wish I could just shred guitar, but I love the low sound of a bass. I wish there was something that could be done, and I was just too much of a dumb to look on the internet and notice the hundreds of 6-string, 5-string bass players throughout time. And Thundercat, even though those instruments had been around, he was the first one that I saw who just wailed on it. That was like, yeah, why doesn't every band do? Yeah, this is the greatest. Flip mode is the greatest. And ever since then, I was like, I have to do this. I tried a 6-string in the shop. Immediately, it almost crushed my shoulder from the weight of the thing. It was so heavy. And then the second part was that my hands, I just couldn't, I was so unfamiliar with how to reach around the fingerboard. I just couldn't do it. So instead of getting discouraged, I found out about Warwick, because I had a Corvette 4-string, and I found out that they made a 5-string, and I loved my 4-string so much. I was like, this will be the intermediary bass between this and the 6-string. And then I fell in love with this thing. And now 4 strings feel too weeny. 6 strings still feel big to me, but they're more manageable. It's more about the weight, man. It's like, I gotta do shoulder lifts to use that thing. And Thundercat's Ibanez, that thing has to weigh like 30 pounds. That thing's massive. It's so cool. No, don't show the bass. Cat Wyatt. Everyone's like, yeah, we don't care about this bass stuff. Get that cat back on here. Okay, so only thing different about the other side of the headstock now. So I've got my string in the hole. It's just popped right in there. I'm popping it to this side, inwards, towards me, because I want that string to be on the inside. You can see all of these are on the inside of the tuner. All the strings are in here, not out here. I can't tell you how many times I've seen stuff out here or out here. It is going to mess up your bass. It will never, ever be in tune. It will feel weird. It will warp your neck. It is just a general bad time. So now I'm kind of in a weird zone here because I need to hold both of these and tune at the same time. So let's see if I can do this. I'm just gonna do this. Just hold it down and then I'll fix it later. Yeah, oh, yeah, there we go. It's like I've done this before. Get down. There you go. Get on the bottom side. Timmy is going ham over there on those little pieces of paper. Okay, so I almost got a full turn. So let's come back over here. Whoop. Dink. Slide this back. Oh, I went too far. So now I gotta come back. Oh, come backwards a little bit. This is a good example of when you make a goob. Just a little goob. Ain't wrong with a little goobing every once in a while, as long as you catch yourself and you ungoob the situation. Oh, that sound. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Anais, what's going on? Hey, Alex, I'm always having a good time watching your video. Oh, thank you so much. You're so kind. Well, if bass maintenance is not your thing, stick around a little bit longer, because once I get this all tuned up and we're getting close, I'll start doing some proper jamming. We'll have some fun here. Show you the new song I was working on and also jam on some new stuff. You guys give me some requests. So start thinking of songs you want me to jam on, or you want me to try out these new strings with, and we can have some fun testing out the new setup. Okay, I totally forgot to scrape the gunk off my guitar. Real talk here, I did not realize how gross my bass was. And every time I scrape something off, it's like, oh boy, this needs a super deep clean, which I'm not going to do right now. But yeah, you know, I'm all about transparency and honesty, so I own it. I'm sorry, I'm gross. Oop. Little flat. Okay. All right, my little neck roll thing for my bass is starting to get a little compressed. Want to make sure, for those of y'all just joining us now, this is here to make sure that none of the neck has any extra stress, and I'm always supporting it the best I can. Dead sound. Big and full, or nasally. So there's your sound right there between a fresh set of strings and a dead set of strings. Okay. And the fun little factoid that we found for the day whenever you're cutting and measuring strings, again, those of you just joining us, is that the formula, if you've got a tuner that's a fat one like this for bass, it is 5 centimeters for one turn. So if you're trying to measure, hey, how long do I need to cut my thing? You put it in the bridge, you pull it reasonably tight, you find the center of your tuner right there, you pinch, you get your measure, you get your ruler from the classical period, you go to 5 centimeters. I always go to 6 to make sure that I have a little extra bit of leeway since I'm not doing super precise measuring. I cut with my wire cutters, and then we know we'll be good to go. Let's see how close we got here. And I'll go ahead and wipe this off. That was the most ephemeral, useless wipe of all time. That was a ceremonial wipe. Oh, you goobers! Get out! What? Okay, you can play with the paper bits. Tenchi eats plastic, man. He tries to eat plastic. I'm, trying to curb that. I'm a good dad. Not just letting my kids run around eating plastic at the mall. No, we get Orange Julius like everybody else. Like a respectable American family. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know where these things come from. These things that come out of my mouth. Okay. Shout out to Orange Julius. Sponsor me, man. I can't. There's no way I couldn't afford one of your shakes back in 2005. So there's no way I can afford one now. So if you want to send me one of those in the mail, that'd be greatly appreciated, or like a t-shirt, a hat. I'll wear it. I aspire to eat there someday. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, now this is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite things to do of all time. Whenever you put a brand new set of strings on, it has what I call the shine. What is, not the shining, the shine. What is that? It's when you rub your hands or cloth over all the strings, the resonance that they give because they're so new and they're so bright. Just listen. Let me get that even just a little bit closer here. Oh yeah. Oh, I love that so much. Oh yeah. Oh baby. Oh baby. All right, let's get tuned up. I want to get all tuned up now. Okay. Woo. I got one more string. Look at that. Hey. Forgot to wrap this up. Okay. Let's see. All right, perfect. Oh, hey, Tenchi, just in time. You trying to eat the plastic? I see you. I see you, dude. I see you trying to eat that. I'm not trying to keep it away from you. I just didn't want to poke you in the eye, baby. Living a very dangerous life. Oh, that plastic sound is horrendous. Okay, let me get this out of the way, and then we'll answer the question we got here while I sip on a tea and Tenchi sits directly underneath the microphone. Oh, he's sniffing the microphone. Okay, careful. It's really hot. Okay, I have a bass question. Pavilis, been going ham at Bomber by Tatsuro, but it's really hard. Any tips on muting for that song? Also, the fingers get really tired, but it's probably because I'm too tense. Good self-awareness. Figuring out how much energy you have to use on your instrument. Very, very, very important. We want to use as little as is needed to execute the technique you were doing. So, taking popping and slapping, for instance. You can pop and slap like Flea, super aggressively. You can double thumb, real strong, like Victor Wooten. You can also very sensitively pop and slap to get a more sensitive sound. Okay, Tenchi, you can sit right there, that's fine. Okay, just get your butt off the headstock, thank you. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll play through Bomber, and we'll talk about it. And as I get reacclimated with the song, I'll give you some tips on how to play that one better. All right, Anais says, I recently changed my strings to colored ones, but how can I tell if they are bad quality? I've only been playing the bass for a year, so it's hard for me to tell by the look or sound. I'm going to assume you're talking about the Diodario Neons. There might be other companies that make them. I'm not sure if Ernie Ball might also make the neon strings. I really don't know much about them. I don't think that, it really... I can't imagine that they're that bad. Any set of bass strings is going to be more or less a set of bass strings. If you want to spend because what I got, my pack of 5 was like $25, something like that. Normally they're like $16, $17 for a pack of 4. But you can go all the way up to like $50, $60 for flat wounds, which when you run your finger over them, these strings that I have, you can feel the ridges, feel all the little bumps. I like that. Flat wounds, you don't. They just feel like you're rubbing a tube, real smooth tube, and it has a totally different sound associated with it. So I'd have to, really hear what you're talking about, but for yourself to determine if you think they're good or not, what you can do is, if you have the resources, buy 2 packs of strings and put them on, play with them, and then take them off carefully, switch them for another one. You can always switch strings very easily. It's no problem. Once you put a pair of strings on, as long as it's the same instrument. If you're switching instruments, you can run into problems if you clipped them, because then, as we've seen over here, you've already clipped them for that instrument's length. They can't be moved to another instrument. But do a side-by-side comparison with 2 strings and see if they really do sound bad. But as far as the neons, let me just do a really quick Google search and just see what people say about these neon bass strings quality. They don't sound perfect, but they glow. There you go. That was the top return from Google there, so that's kind of funny. There you go. So it's all, you know, it's a user's preference to sound. But final thing I'll say about that, tone. If you had to take three, like where does your sound live? Like, man, that sound. How do I get that sound? Out of strings, instrument, all the amps and pedals, and yourself. The most important thing is yourself. What's the second most important thing? Yourself. It's yourself. Number 3 is also yourself. Then you can talk about your gear. But how you approach the instrument, how you touch the instrument, how hard you play the instrument, all those things about how you are interacting with it, that is the sound. That is Victor Wooten. That is Thundercat. That is Jaco Pastorius. Everybody. That's John Frusciante. Like, going guitar, going any instrument. How you approach your instrument, how you interact with the instrument, that is your sound. It is not the instrument itself. Very funny story from my professional career. I met a violinist one time, saw him perform, wonderful concert, you know, famous dude who, in the violin community, and he was in like his 60s or something. And I, you know, was trying to be nice, and I was just a student, and I was like, wow, oh man, you play so beautiful, man, and your instrument is just gorgeous. What instrument are you playing that it plays so beautifully? And he got all mad at me, and he just goes, the instrument didn't play the concert tonight, I did. And I was like, that was a real snooty, like, doucher thing to say, but the man had a point. You know, it's not our instruments that are the magic. It's the people, you know, how you play them. So, yeah, that's my TED Talk. Hopefully helping everybody. Man, the cats are going crazy. I hear them all scraping around up there. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch this out so I can start jamming along some tunes here. So I'm going to put on a little bit of a... Let's see here. Well, let's get some Bomber. Tatsuro. I'll get a little bit of that playing in the background, and we'll see how quickly I can get myself demonetized here. Hey, how about this? I'll play my own video. How about that? Like, how mad can you really get at me if I'm playing my own video, y'all? All right, so let me try this out here, see if I can get this going. Oh, there we go. So now let's do this. Yeah, I wonder who that guy is playing the bass there. That's some pretty good pacing. I wonder who that could be. Oh, it's me, you say. Wait, am I wearing the same pants? That would be funny if I was wearing the same pants. No, I'm not wearing the same pants. I've almost got the same pants on. Okay. Start getting stuff out of the way. Go ahead and put the bass over here. Put this microphone over here. Right. Oh, not on the crinklies. Okay. Sip a little tea. Okay, I'm remembering. This song is hard. Okay. Ooh. Oh yeah, I love this part. Oh, okay. Cool. Oh. Yeah. One more thing. the video is unavailable. Okay, well, thank you. I guess I'll just have to use this then. Use my own video. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Okay, so now you guys can probably hear me a little bit less. Try to talk up here. First thing we're going to do is get the old bass tuned up. So volume. Oh, my baby. Oh, yes. Oh, I can live. I can live in that sound. I can live in that sound. Everything on my knobs, all my potentiometers, the control of upper pickup, lower pickup, everything is set neutral. So it's 5, like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's 5, 5, 5. Everything is even. That's how I always like to tune. That's how I always like to start crafting my tone every single time. Even when I'm just tuning up the bass, I always want to start with that even tone. So I got a tuner in front of me here for an A. And let's quite a bit flat. Man, I was way flat. Hilarious. Okay. Almost at a D. E. Hold on. Oh, I went to an E. Wait a second. What's happening? What's happening? Oh, it was okay. I was like, I thought that was a G, baby. Why is this an A? I have my doctorate tonight here. I forgot what instrument I was playing, and I was trying to tune to a string that was not there. Spoiler, I've been teaching ukulele to a little kid, and the ukulele is invading my brain. Wonderful, so I just overstretched the crap out of my G string. Whatever. Okay. And isn't this awesome? Don't you guys love watching a guy tune his strings? I promise the stuff I do will help. Hey, there's my A string. Feels good to know what you're doing. E, A, D, baby. E. Thank you. And a B. Gotta be light. Gotta be gentle with that B string. There it is. Okay. And you can tell I'm already overloading my bass. I gotta turn that down. Maybe turn that down a little more. Oh, also the microphone is picking that up. That's why it sounds so jangly and weird. Okay, so to start getting my pop slap sound, oh, that sounds so good. Oh, that feels so good. Okay. So what I'm doing here is, and we'll switch on over here for a second on the old shot clock. Let me just see if anybody's still watching here, because I was very much abandoning the viewers here for a second. All right, here. Ooh, okay, looking at some questions here. What I have are not rounds. Mine are just regular old guys. It is an anime sound effect for them. Yeah. So talking about those glow strings on Ace, yeah, they don't glow very well. Hate to tell you. But if you're in black lights, they look sick. Okay. Well, that's almost it. Well, this is kind of it. Oh, get away from my string key. Yeah, I'm good at what I do. So, looking at this, here we go. This is what I want you to see. This is my rig. It's a virtual rig. It's called Guitar Rig 6. It's really nice. I like it. What I have here is I have a preamp that takes my signal and makes it, if it overloads here, it will reduce, it compresses out some of that over buzz, but it also gives me a consistent output. Then I have my amp, this modulated amp that I have here. You can see the settings. It's got a little more bass, a little less high mid, a little bit more treble, pretty chill. I've got my microphone right on the cabinet, so it's a very focused sound, so it's not fuzzy. It's just very punchy and clean. Got a little more EQ on it, and then all the way at the end, another compressor that acts as a limiter, and a little bit of a, I guess the first compressor is more of a raise up a lifter, but this one is what makes sure nothing comes out too loud, and you can see it's set right there to compressor. What's the first one set to? Oh, I guess it's just a preamp. So I just have a compressor at the end, but this also helps develop your sound, whatever your amp is. But again, setting everything on neutral and building from there is the way to go. I promise you, because if there's a sound you don't like, it's probably in your fingers. So if I don't like that, I want it warmer, I'm not going to touch a ding-dong thing over here. I'm just going to chill out like that. If I want it a little brighter, I'll come over here. If I want it really washed out, I'll play over my fingerboard. I don't care. Now, if that's still too much shine for me, now I come over here and turn down my treble. Okay, there we go. But again, I don't want to turn it down too much. Only enough. Only enough. There you go. So that I can attain it, so I can still have, if I want it. But hear how much that little, I didn't even move it 1 degree, I moved it half a degree. It's all in your fingers, man. You know, it's a very subtle thing. Very, very subtle. So, for Tatsuro here. I think I'm good. Maybe, let's see, a little more bass. Cool. So I boosted a little bit of bass. And always remember, if you are boosting bass, not only are you raising up the bass, you are going to cover some of the treble. It's not like you can raise one and the other stays unaffected. No. If you change one, it changes the other, and vice versa. So any change you make here, always think of it as you're doing two things. So if you move it one, you're moving that up one, but you're also moving the other thing down a half or something. So every motion is a lot bigger than people think it is. Or at least that's what when I was first starting out, it was a lot bigger than I thought it was. Okay, so now talking about this song and talking about some tips and some tricks, let's just play through it one time. So let's see how this will work here. I'm just going to play along, and this will probably duck it down a ton. So what I'll do is, and I'm talking to myself on here because I've got audio ducking on. Let's go back over to this. There we go. Actually, yeah, we'll go back over here. This is cool. We'll do that, and then I'll go over to my desktop audio filters and turn off this compressor. Okay, so now the compressor's off. All right, let's start playing some music here. We're gonna have double basses. 3 basses on this song. You ready? Me and me. Cool. So, what we got going on here is a couple. So, organize my thoughts here. 3 things to consider with this song: your popping and slapping approach. Number 2, your finger style approach, getting that sound. And then number 3, your preparatory motions. So, how are you preparing to get into every section, to do every move, to get every sound? So let's start with the first thing, popping and slapping. So whenever you're doing your slap, always you want to have the side of your thumb, you can see mine's a little goobered up from playing so much bass, not that bad, but you want right here. It's on the side of this bone, or right around that area where it's hard. It's a hard part. You can just feel. If you're feeling fleshy thumb, no. You want something that's pretty doggone hard. That is what you want to hit dead center of the string you're going for. So if I'm going for my E string right here, the side right there it is. I can feel it tapping right there. So that's the side. So if I pivot it around an axis of rotation, just so you can see where that is, it's right there. So if I go too far low, nothing. If I go too far forward, also nothing. So, what's happening there? When you are hitting with that side, that hard part of your thumb, you are hitting the string directly down into the instrument. You're not going forward. We're not Victor Wooten. We're doing flea slapping. Victor Wooten goes down and then up at an angle. I can't do it. It's hard. Flea style is coming directly 90 degrees, boom, right into your instrument. So when I'm coming in here, I want the string to slap down, hit the fret, and then pop back up. So I'm hitting it down and getting out of the way so that it does that. That is the specific sound versus going up and down. And I can slap light or heavy, medium, heavy, to get all those different sounds. But the general principle is find that hard spot, and that's what you're doing, is you're going right in on it. Your thumb is not stiff. Your thumb is very, very relaxed. The way I practice this is going up to a table and just turning my wrist. It's like a doorknob rotational thing. That's all you're doing. This is slapping. Slapping and then popping is when you get your finger under there, you're coming out with your arm. So it looks like you're doing an arm slap. No, this is the slap. This is the pop, is pulling out. So we have to come forward to get our thumb back in position, but it's just this. It's just moving the arm. It's not coming at it with force. This is what you need. So to practice, if you want to be really disciplined, you can just keep your arm in one spot. And you see my wrist is doing everything. My arm's not moving. When I play, I'll pull my whole hand out. It's showy, it's fun, it's not necessary. Everything you see here, this is what I'm doing. I keep my first finger, my knuckle, is the center of rotation. And I just have a loose hand. Jingle, 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 jingle. Like that. Okay. Let me jump back into the comments here real fast and see if we have any questions, comments, or concerns over this technique. Okay. Jumping into the thing. Okay. Can't decide on whether to pop the 3-5-3-5 part or to slap that part, but when I slap that with my thumb, the E string vibrates and I can't mute it when I pop. Weird, I know. Can you mute the strings? I can mute the lower E string. Okay, so we'll talk about the specific song here in just a second. Yeah. Okay, pause. Good. All right, so now that we've got that in mind, so this is the first thing, because this also helps with what you were talking about, Pavilis, hitting other strings, bleed through. So if you're playing, imagine this string, this B string isn't here. I'm using the crappiest technique. I can still just hit one string, no problem. If I go up a string though, it's over. You're always going to hear, because you're going to physically hit these other strings. So the low string, you can do whatever. But once you go in, you have to have a plan to how do I mute the other strings. So if you want to be, super awesome, I'm only going to just get good. Even then, there's so much ringing. There's so much extra ringing. So if I put a fret mute on, which is going to give a little bit of deadening, it's a little bit better, but still not great. What's the actual solution? Left hand. So if I'm literally bashing my instrument, just bashing it. If I go over here with my 4 fingers and because again, I have 5 strings. You cover the strings that you don't want to sound. You don't push them down. You just barely touch them. You can't mess up. That's the secret. So it's not, because if you hold too tight, you can get harmonics. That's too much. But if I barely touch my string, it's so dead. And if another string is going on, again, I'll try this example where I cover my B, I cover my A, my D, and my G. Only my E is exposed. So it's all in the left hand. So whenever we're popping and slapping here, and you are going in, instead of just the E and the D, easy to pop and slap. Feels great. Now we have to do the A and the G. And you just keep hitting that E string. And you don't know what to do. Here's your solution. When I was playing it before, I was doing it like this. Hey, look at that green screen. That's funny. So let me move this up so you can see that, or I'll move it down a little bit so you can see. So when I was here, my finger was just far enough over to cover what I needed. But I'm hitting this open E. So I take my finger and I push it forward so it's barely touching the E. And that's it. Now I can still only push. I'm only pushing on my A string, but I'm barely touching my E string. And now when I pop and slap, and again, I can be as sloppy as I want. Well, I guess I have to cover my B. Wait, what string am I trying to hit? Oh, this one. Oh, but I have to cover my other strings. That's harder to do. And the last tip I have is releasing your left hand with your right hand in mind. So if you're doing a pop or a slap pop, that's what it sounds like if I hold them down. That's not super funky or city pop. What's super funky or city pop? After you finish one note and you go to the next, release the previous. Now, that sounds like crap because there's all this extra ringing. Why did I do that though? I was showing you the timing of the release, but the action of the release is this. Engaged, disengaged, engaged, disengaged. Show you from this side. Engaged, disengaged, engaged, disengaged. It's just that little amount of energy that holds it down, and that's how far I release. You never, in general, you don't want your fingers to leave the strings. You always want them to be touching the strings, and even if you're jumping from place to place, you want to have one finger at least slide with you to help you keep relation of where you are, and for that muting idea. As you're learning this idea of sneaking your first finger forward to mute your lower string, that will be super important, having that slide feel, getting used to that. And of course, always with new stuff, go slow. Go slow and you'll be good to go. Okay, so now, talking back about this. In the song, we've got this riff. Okay, we can see the riff right there. So we've got this 5, 5, 7, and then we got a hammer on. Or let's see here. Can I play the old song I figured out? So what we have, we've got what traditionally, when we see anything on the A or the D and the G string, we think of those as popping. Those are popping strings. E and A, those are slapping strings. Slap, pop, slap, pop, slap, pop, slap, pop. Here's the problem. This passage needs those, and going like that, it's possible, but if we were going slow, you could do it, but it's not organic. The fancy word we have is called idiomatic. Idiomatic means built for the thing. So if something's idiomatic for bass, it means this was designed for bass. It like feels good on bass. What feels good on bass? Octaves. What feels terrible on violin? Octaves. It's not a comfortable thing, but for bass, it's like, oh yeah, give it to me all day. I want it. So, talking about idiomatic motions, what is going to be the most idiomatic is doing a slap and pop, because that's what we like. Slap, pop. So, now we have to talk about how do we mute those strings. Here's another option. You can come in with your palm, and you can use your palm to help mute the lower strings. That's an option. So let's see, what is it? Because this one sucks, man, because you have a open string. How are you supposed to keep that clean? I'm using the bottom is a tricky technique. I didn't realize how hard this song was because it looks pretty simple with all the repetitive, over and over the same parts. But those parts are tricky to get. So my suggestion for this is to practice doing slap, slap, pop, move your hand forward, clean, slap. I didn't even do it right. And you can also use your left hand to mute this top string so that doesn't happen. But you can also just practice nailing that spot. But once you get it, there's your pop here. And it happens so quick in the song. Dun, da, dim, ba, da, da, da. This is more of a it's more of just setting up kind of an accent for this. Because if we didn't have that previous part, 3, 4, dum, dum, that's what we would have. So this is just a little bit extra. So you don't have to stress so much, after you practice, of course, about it being every note speaks real cleanly, because then you can over-hammer in your left hand. It's just not needed. Turn my hand a little bit here. Wrist. There you go. So for this one, I have to be more aggressive. No. And just go for it. So if I'm a little off, it sounds terrible, but if you nail it, I got cocky there. Side of the thumb there. So the pattern: slap, slap, pop, slap, pop, slap, pop. Like that. Instead of doing, you can do it. It's totally possible. It doesn't feel as good, and it doesn't scale smoothly as quickly. So that's my suggestion to you. I hope that is helpful. That's part 1 with the popping and slapping. Part 2, just to briefly go over, because I know we're already 2 hours in here. What we're going to do is you have to switch from to, and that takes a mental preparation of, I need to relax my hand. Because when we do these, you're dragging a finger. 1, 1, 1, 2. And again, left hand muting. If I hold them all down, beautiful, but it's too muddy. So, individual fingers. And I have them touching, but I engage and then release the previous one as I come down. So, engage, release, engage, release, engage. And if I lift my fingers off, it will ring, so I have to keep them on. Decadecum. 3 and 4. Now, another thing you can do is use one finger and roll it. I like that better. It's not as good. This is cleaner, but I'm not as good at it. It's also a little bit more legato. It's less staccato. All a personal style. But the big thing is to know, gotta use energy. Gotta use energy. Gotta use no energy. Or use this 2. No, I like 1. You use whatever finger you like. That's the second thing. The third thing is having a plan. Have a plan for those pops and slaps like I talked about before. Have a plan for what's going on, you know, where you're switching, where you need to switch, all those kinds of things. And just know where you're going. And the more you know the song, the easier it will get. I always suggest memorizing, you know, the notes of a passage that you're working on. Not only because memory work is always good to do and is an excellent thing, but more importantly, is you want to make sure that when you're working on something, you have the mental freedom to think about the other things you need to work on. Like, do I need to, like, what's not going right? Let me look. Oh, my hand is in a weird position, or, oh, I'm not hitting in the right spot, or, oh, I'm pushing too hard, that kind of thing. Ooh, and drop my mouse. And again, always remember, if something is off with your tone, start with yourself. Start with yourself before you start fiddling with everything else, all your different options on your amps, or buying a new pedal, or doing anything like that, which, you know, it's always fun to get a new effect. But if you really want to improve, that's how you do it, is you focus on yourself. Cool. All right. I just have to get at the pointy finger mute. Yeah, the pointy finger mute. It's a good one, man. And that was one, I definitely didn't invent it, but I just figured that out on my own. There's no YouTube video that taught me about that, or, you know, how to cover. People always said you have to use left hand to mute, but they didn't explain it. But it was when I was trying to figure out how to mute this beast of a B string, you know, which I normally don't even play, but I'll never get rid of. That's where I just figured it out one day. So hopefully that's a helpful tip. Yeah, try slapping the D string. Very good, very, very good. That's it. And once you get good at slapping the D string, it opens up so many more playing possibilities. And these city pop cats, man, especially when you start getting into like Cassiopeia, you start talking about, what is it? I always say Kira Jimbo. That's the drummer. Is it not Tomohito Aoki? Tetsuro Sakurai. I got there. His popping and slapping stuff, you know, he's doing all 4 strings. You know, doing that kind of stuff where he's hitting everything, and it's like, that's pretty cool. I don't even want to learn domino line. It looks too hard. Yeah, domino line is too hard. I thought domino line was too hard when I was playing it myself. Okay, before we finish up here tonight, because it's already 5:20, I want to show you the new song that I was working on here that I got figured out, which is Counting Down the Days by Yorie Kokubu. But what I'm going to do is turn on some effects, and it's going to knock out my voice here, I think. Oh, actually, I'm not sure if it will. Let's see what happens. I've never tried this before. If this crashes the stream, I love you all, and I'm sorry for kicking us off here. Let's see what happens. Huh? Oh? Maybe? Huh? No? Yeah? What's happening? Yes? Hello? Oh. There we go. Maybe a little bit of that. Okay. We'll try a little bit of that. That's kind of like what I need here. So now let's just get that out of the way. Let's come back over here. Let's see what happens if I do this now. Oh yeah. That's the stuff. Now I'm sure that is horrendously loud, so let me turn that down. And let's try. What is this? Oh, what's this gonna sound like, baby? Yeah! I'm a happy boy. I'm a happy boy. That's the sound. That's the sound I was on. Oh, listen to that. horrible. Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do here today is play a little bit of the new track that I did counting down the days. The video will come out on Tuesday. I'm stuck on my thing. Let's see here, F11 for this to get it full screen. Look at my face. There we go. And a 1. Okay. And then I come over here and I turn off my voice. So goodbye to voice. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm gonna play through this one, have a little bit of fun, and then call it quits. If there's any questions at the end, I'll answer questions at the end. But I'm gonna cut out my mic for now. that one's hard on the old fingies right there, because you have to control the funk. And if you want that good one, you gotta get it just right. So man, I was playing way too hard. I didn't get my tone dialed in. So I was just like hammering away with my left or right hand. Okay, gonna jump in here, untangle myself, see if there's any questions, answer those up here, and then I want to go get myself a little bit of a dinner, a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of rest, and then make another video for you guys, because that's what I love to do. I just love to do it. Okay, cool. Glad I could help, Pavillis. Yes, you are more than welcome for all the help. All of you guys, I love you so much. And any questions you have, anything that if I answered and did even the slightest bit of help, that makes me feel wonderful, because I remember what it was like trying to learn an instrument. And when I was like 16, 17, I wrote a message to a guitarist online from a tiny little band out on the West Coast who had no reason to message me back on MySpace. That's how old I am. I'm a vampire. And it meant the world to me, and it kept me going. So if I could do that for somebody else, awesome. Pay it forward to somebody else for all the wonderful skills you have, because you guys are all amazing. So what else we got here? Thank you, Bobby. I'm glad the advice was good. Yep, everybody's got a peace out now. It's all good. Thank you. My mustache games. Feels pretty good. Pretty good. All right, Dylan, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. Probably a common question, but what application do you use to make your tabs? I use what's called flat.io. Longtime viewers of the channel will know my feelings on this program. It is free. It has advantages. It's online. It's very easily accessible, so that you can both create the tab and post it all in browser, all very conveniently. Having said that, there are problems. Little graphical things, just kind of annoyance things that are hard to use. But the final product is very, very nice, and they are working on the program, and it does get better. But again, flat.io is the name of the program, and the reason I use it is because it has a nice graphical interface for both the music and the tab. When I got it 6 years ago. Now I should just be using Guitar Pro or using Finale or Sibelius or something else like that, but that's what I use. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Be looking for a new video on Tuesday, so that's here in 3 days, the one I just did. I'll pop that up for you. Any questions that you have, put them in the comments below. I will get to them eventually. That is always my plan, to always answer the questions you guys have. And new Wake and Bass next Thursday. Check out the Patreon if you want some more backing tracks or some. I don't have any teaching lessons up there yet, but in the future I will have some. So until then, I wish you all a wonderful rest of the evening or day or whatever's happening wherever you are, and I will catch you later. Bye, everybody. I never know when to click into the stream, so I'm clicking it right about now, right about now, right about now, right about now.